It's a great honor for me to present to Jackie Hudson the 2007 Paul B. Beeson Award. Sister Jackie Hudson has demonstrated extraordinary courage and dedication in confronting our era's equivalent of the African slave trade, nuclear weapons, the most destructive devices ever built by man. We learned after deciding on this award for Jackie that she in fact was inspired by Helen Caldecott back in the 1980s, and that was how Jackie got onto nuclear abolition work. So it's a wonderful sort of confluence of influences. We honor Jackie as we honor her mentor for setting the moral compass for our time. Weapons of mass destruction are killing our civic character and distorting our efforts to create a peaceful world. In October of 2002, while President Bush was calling for the invasion of Iraq in order to disarm Iraq's alleged weapons of mass destruction, Jackie Hudson and two of her Dominican sisters, Ardith Platt and Carol Gilbert, donned homemade citizen weapon inspection team suits and entered a Minuteman III missile silo in Colorado in search of weapons of mass destruction, and lo and behold, they found one. They symbolically disarmed that missile by taking a household hammer and pounding on the iron rail of the 110-ton silo lid and squirting their own blood from a baby bottle in the form of a cross on the wall of the silo. For this act, Jackie spent 30 months in federal prison after being convicted of 2 felonies that carried a combined maximum penalty of 30 years in prison and a $500,000 fine. Jackie wrote in her pre-sentencing statement, quote, "We went to that specific silo to inspect, expose, and symbolically disarm one of our 10,455 nuclear weapons and to declare it a crime scene. We went to that site to uphold the law of the United States of America as stated in the U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Section 2, which states that any and all treaties signed by the U.S. government become the supreme law of the land, superseding any and all local, state, or national laws. We went to the silo because of a burden of knowledge. We have studied the various treaties declaring that the threat to use or the use of nuclear weapons is illegal. I refer today to the Nuremberg Principles and the Tokyo Tribunal, which our government was principally responsible for writing after World War II. They declare, quote, "Individuals have international duties which transcend the national obligation of obedience. Therefore, individual citizens have the duty to violate domestic laws to prevent crimes against peace and humanity from occurring," unquote. Nuremberg War Crimes Tribunal, 1950. Supporters of this trio of nuns, at their request, generated over $600,000 equivalent in volunteered public services and a truckload of food for the poor of Colorado in lieu of paying the $3,000 fine that the feds levied to fix the silo fence that the military mowed down and racing in to arrest them. Jackie's now home again in Bremerton with her partner Sue Ablau. Sue is the unsung hero here, always there. And she's serving out her 2 years of probation. Theirs was a plowshares action, a symbolic act of nonviolently turning swords into plowshares. It is through nonviolent direct action that over 2 billion people around the world have freed themselves from tyranny in the 20th century. Remember India, Russia, Czechoslovakia, South Africa, Tanzania, the Philippines, and many, many more. Nonviolence is the answer to our problems. Friends, there's a whole different way our world could be ordered, and Jackie Hudson is a warrior for that new world. Jackie, it's a great honor to know you, to work with you, and tonight to present you with Washington Physicians for Social Responsibility's highest award, the Paul B. Beeson Award. Jackie? The award reads, Washington Physicians for Social Responsibility proudly presents our 2007 Paul B. Beeson Peace Award to Jackie Hudson, OP, in recognition of extraordinary service to humankind through her exemplary actions to eliminate nuclear weapons and create a peaceful world. October 21st, 2007.
Dave alerted me to this award by email. And Sue can attest to what happened when I opened my email that morning. I sat there and I just could not move, I could not speak. All I could do was have tears roll down my face, because I really treasure the work of WPSR, and to be awarded this by this organization means so much to me. But I accept it on behalf of all of you here, because there are so many of you, as we spoke and heard at the beginning of our meal tonight, of how many are involved very, very deeply in this work of making a safe planet for all of us to live. So on behalf of all of you, I say thank you, and I appreciate this award so greatly, and I accept it on behalf of each and every one of you sitting here this evening. Thank you. I'd like to share just a little bit. I think sometimes sharing our stories helps point out that we as ordinary people can sometimes be involved in extraordinary events. And so I'd just like to speak a little bit about that. And one thing, in reading about Dr. Beeson, he was 73 when he came here to the Northwest, and when he arrived in Seattle. And that's the age I'm at standing here before you this evening, or will be in just a few short weeks. So that is another little anecdote to this evening. My commitment to making nuclear abolition, or seeking nuclear abolition, began while driving home from hearing Dr. Helen Caldecott speak at my alma mater in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This had to be back in the early 80s. It was around the time that the national PSR campaign describing the medical effects of the 1 megaton bomb was in gear. And I was more of a pack rat than I am now, but this is the 1982 issue of the Grand Rapids, Michigan Press, with the concentric circles showing what would happen if a nuclear bomb was detonated over our city. So I think this was one of the most powerful campaigns ever in the United States, because it brought out the medical effects, which would mean it would affect every single person on this planet, in this city, in this state. And I think that's what it takes, really. It takes that personal effect to make people really come to grips with, I must do something about this. Well, a dedicated group of Michiganders persisted until Michigan became nuclear-free in the early 90s. And that's when Sue Blau and I came to Bremerton to begin working with the Ground Zero Center for Nonviolent Action. And we have several members of Ground Zero with us this evening, and I just really appreciate the support and the love and that I've experienced with working with so many of you in this group in particular. I'd been familiar with the air-based nuclear weapons, but didn't know very much about the sea-based. The Trident submarine and the Trident missile delivery system has become very well known now, however, and we consistently work at Ground Zero to educate to the dangers and have consistently acted nonviolently to stop business as usual at this submarine base. We have a table of materials from the Ground Zero back at one of the tables, and I urge you to stop and pick up one of the brochures or one of the handouts. One is on the reliable replacement warhead that you've heard spoken about a couple times this evening, and the status of it, and what you can do, the number of the bill, and so on, that you can write and contact our senators on. But in 1998, I became aware of the official document of the United States Air Force entitled 2020 Vision. 2020 Vision states the goal of the U.S. Air Force as domination and exploitation of outer space. We have, as it were, conquered the world and the planet, the Earth, but now we are out for what is up in outer space, near space and far outer space. It was after spiritually and physically preparing with 4 others that we decided to ring the bell to alert the nation as to what is happening in plain sight, but without knowledge of most of our citizens. And so the result was the first plowshare action, Sacred Earth and Space Plowshares, in Colorado Springs in the year 2000. We went to the Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs and hammered on an F-18 bomber bomb racks, and also on the Millstar receiver receiving dish. We spent a week in jail, and the Air Force declared that nothing ever happened. They denied that this action took place, and we were released from jail. So we returned. We thought if that didn't work, we would return, because this is such an important issue that so few are aware of. So on October 6th, 2002, we, as Dave said, inspected, exposed, and symbolically disarmed 1 of 49 Minuteman III missiles in the state of Colorado. The pebble we threw in the water on October 6th continues to expand, and the opportunities to speak on the abolition of nuclear weapons are increasing. Sue and I just returned from New Mexico and Colorado, where we showed the film and participated in the Taos, New Mexico Film Festival. It has also received honors at the Mountain High Festival in Telluride. It's been part of the Rome, Georgia Festival, and in January, the Frozen River Film Festival. And what I'm speaking of is our film Conviction, which tells the story. It brings in the right-wing religious as well as the federal court system. It brings in a variety of issues. So again, that is another, and I'm very willing to come wherever you are, willing to show it to people and do a Q&A with you afterwards. So if anyone is interested, please stop back, and our cards, either Sue or my card is back there, and to contact us on that. Everyone in this room is aware of the growing violence in our society, and it reflects our own need to grow in the art of nonviolence. Change does not happen without commitment. And each of us has made a commitment of some sort. As Martin Luther King once said, if you're not willing to die for a cause, your life is not worth living. We spent, between the 3 of us that committed this last action of symbolically disarming this nuclear weapon, I spent 2.5 years, Carol spent 2 3/4, and Ardith spent 3.5 years in federal prisons. And I just would like to say that the prison industrial complex is as evil as the military industrial complex. It is legalized slavery. It needs to be abolished. I believe that there are some cases where people need to be separated from society for a period of time, but it is now a billions of dollar industry, and a few people are making a lot of money on this incarceration of people that have no need to be separated from society. In closing, I know that each of us here is very knowledgeable about the issue of nuclear weaponry, and we know that the largest stockpile of nuclear warheads on hair trigger alert are present within 20 miles from us here tonight at Subbase Bangor, home of the Trident nuclear weapon system. Archbishop Raymond Hunthausen, when he was here in Seattle, called Bangor the Auschwitz of Puget Sound, and it still is. It is still there, it is growing. We have more submarines based there today than we have ever had since it began. So I ask each of us tonight to look into ourselves and find that spot which we occupy on the continuum of action for a nuclear-free world. And after finding it, commit to taking one step beyond our comfort zone. And if each of us in this room tonight would take that one step beyond our comfort zone, together we can make Washington and the world nuclear free. Thank you very, very much.